Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you decided to click on this video. Like the title says, today I'm going to be talking about bookish trends that I am so over and ready to move on from. And I hope the publishing world is listening to my petty grievances because I'm tired of these things. I have 7 things here. Are they petty? Yes. Are they legit? Also yes. So let's get started. So the first one of these has to do with titles of books, and that is I am tired of books that are called like somebody is blah blah blah. If that makes sense. Like Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine. That was like the OG in my opinion. Then we got like, I should have looked this up before I started filming, but whatever. So one called Delilah Green Doesn't Care. I have seen so many books with these kind of titles, and I know I'm not giving you very good examples, but I feel like every time I turn around, there's another one. Even in that same series, there's also Astrid Parker Doesn't Care, no, Doesn't Fail, and Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. Now, I get it, it's a series, so like it makes sense that they would all kind of go together, but like, I hate this. I'm so over it. It's just like, why? Finley Donovan is killing it. Or what, is that what the first one's called? I don't know. But like all of those books too. It's just, I'm sick of it. And as like a little side note on those, I'm also kind of sick of like the blah 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 of person. So this isn't an example necessarily because I feel like this is one of the earlier ones to do this, but like The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, The Collected Regrets of Clover, the there's a lot of those, and I'm over it. I'm ready for some more creativity and just different naming styles. Every time I see one, I almost am just like, I don't even want to look at it. Maybe that's dramatic, probably, but I'm just like, I'm so tired of that kind of way to name a book, and I think authors, we can do better. The next thing that I'm super sick of in books is college reunion thrillers. So books where something happened long ago and then everybody comes back as adults, they haven't talked, whatever, it's the secret, and they come back together as adults to have a reunion and like figure out what went wrong in the past, I guess. Examples of this are In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, and a recent release which is called Everyone Who Can Forgive Me Is Dead by Jenny Hollander, which is actually a book that I DNF'd, an arc that I DNF'd, which I really try not to do, but I just was not having a good time at all. So I feel like we've gotten a lot of these. I just feel like they all are kind of the same. I'm never really that shocked by anything in them, and I'm honestly not even that entertained on the journey. Normally that's fine. If I'm not shocked by a thriller, that's okay, as long as it was an interesting story to get there, and I just did not feel like that with this kind of trope. I'm just kind of done with it. Same goes for like high school reunions, so those two just happen to be college. Another trend that I'm tired of, and this doesn't necessarily apply to me personally a lot, but I am so tired of romance books, women's fiction books being like 400 plus pages. I just don't see the necessity, and most of the time there isn't one. They don't need to be that long. For example, I just finished a book for my book club that was an older book by Jennifer Weiner, and like, it did not need to be 400 pages. It just didn't. There was so much needless exposition, and I feel like that has its place. I mean, in a horror book, in a fantasy, in books that are actually like setting something up for us, that's fine. But when it's really just characters meeting and falling in love and like a side plot, I mean, I just don't see why that's necessary, and I feel like it really turns me off to a lot of romances that might be amazing, because I pick it up, I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, so this is supposed to be a cute rom-com, but I'm about to dedicate like an entire week to reading it? I don't think so. So, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely books that I have, not picked up because of their length in that sort of category, and I've been trying to, like, I cut back my reading quantity goal this year, but if I'm reading a long book, I want it to be something that's like really gonna change my life, like, literature or I want it to be like Stephen King, like something I've just been putting off. So I just do not feel like I'm dedicating that much time and energy to a 400-page romance. So, I mean, again, these are all my opinions, but not for me. Another one that I'm tired of, but again, doesn't really necessarily affect my life personally, is like the constant special editions. It's like the publishers are taking a page out of Taylor Swift's book, which, I mean, obviously she is my Lord and Savior, so I'm not criticizing her in any way. However, some of her albums are a little cash grabby, where it's like, oh, we're going to put one song on this album and one song on this album, so you have to buy them both, even though the majority of the songs are the same. Because otherwise you can't listen to them because they're not streaming anywhere yet. So I feel like that's kind of similar. It's like, oh, there's a bonus chapter in this edition, and there is another one in this edition. And like, I'm just thinking my lucky stars that I'm not a fantasy reader, because the temptation would be just too much for me. I'm not so good at resisting when I want something, and my goodness, I'm so glad that's not been an issue for me, because, I mean, I buy one copy of a book, and if I feel like I need another, then I'm going to get rid of the first one. So, lucky for me, that's not a thing, but I know on behalf of like a lot of friends of mine who are fantasy readers that this is frustrating, and like, just never, there's always something new coming out with a different edition and a different spine, and they're all pretty. And I love that for people that are collectors. But for people who just want like a book and they just want the bonus chapter, like having to kind of do all this stuff is just like, ugh, it feels icky. I don't like it. The next one, I don't want it to seem like I'm like coming after like romance books, because I'm really not. I feel like they can just, there's things we can be doing better. And I'm tired of books just being all about tropes. I feel like on Instagram, it's such a trend to do like a picture of the cover and then like little tropes around it. And I love that that's a nice way to describe what the book is about. However, a book that can be reduced to like 3 or 4 tropes is not a book I want to read. I want a book to be like, I want there to be substance in addition to romance. And again, not necessarily my genre, so I don't want anyone that's really into romance books to come for me, but I just like, I need there to be some parts of it that like are not tropey, are different and unique, and makes it stand out from other books with the same tropes. Because I mean, I've certainly never written a book. I will not ever probably write a book. I don't have any ambitions for that. So I certainly understand that it's very hard to do, but I just think that it should take a little more than just throwing a bunch of tropes into a story to become published, if that makes sense. Also, I want to recognize I know how hard it is to write a book, and that our authors are incredible. Even if your book doesn't ever see the light of day, that's incredible. But I feel like we're still, as readers, allowed to have standards. Another one that I've seen a lot and I am kind of sick of is where there are dual point of views, and they are just, we get this character's point of view in a scene, and then the next chapter is just this other character's point of view in the same scene. It feels like such a waste of time. Why did you write this book in first person when we could just be like third person, omniscient? We could have gotten everybody's thoughts in the same chapter. I don't know. For me, it just doesn't work. I personally am not a huge fan of dual POVs in like people that know each other. Like, I understand if it's like, oh, they're going to meet later along the line, like their stories intertwine, or if it's like a present day timeline and a past timeline. But when it's just like 2 people, I'm just like, just make it one story. Just make it one. I don't know. That's something that I am really tired of seeing, and I really wish we could be done with. And we are going to end where we started with some Petty Betty stuff, which is I am so tired of historical fiction covers where it is like brownish beige and there is a woman's back, and that's the cover. I'm so done. I'm so tired of it. I took a picture in like the Charlotte airport like a couple years ago, and if I can find it, I'll put it here. And I just like could not stop laughing because it was a whole bunch of historical fiction books all together, and literally at least 2/3 of them had that on the cover. I just couldn't take it. It was hilarious, and I just feel like, again, it's a cool like design, but it's overdone, and we need to find something new to have as a cover of historical fiction. I know artists can do better than that. I know there's other options out there. So there you have it. Those are some bookish trends that I am ready to see go away. I would love to know what bookish trends you're sick of. Let me know down in the comments what has been on your mind lately, what things in the bookish world you are done with and would love to never see again. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed, I would love it if you would, and I will see you in the next one.